from Grindr to Tinder to Match.com to OK Christian, Cupid, Mingle, Jew, Date Bear, CheapSexFun.com, you can find all kinds of love on the web these days. And now, finding a daddy or a young whippersnapper who loves a little salt and pepper is even easier, thanks to the folks over at Daddyhunt who've just launched the world's first app dedicated to daddies and the men who love them. Here's a look at one of Daddyhunt's latest ads. Joining us is Carl Sandler, founder of the Daddyhunt app. Thanks for being here, Carl. Good to talk to you. So, for people who aren't totally familiar with all the terminology of the gay community, let's just clarify what a daddy is and what a non-daddy is, because both of those guys looked hot and fit, and neither of them were like big fat bears.
No, they weren't big fat bears, but daddy is a state of mind. Like you can be older, you can be a little bit younger. I think that daddy that's playing the daddy role in the video is in his mid-40s. So I mean. There's a lot of hot daddies out there and a lot of people who like hot daddies. And so it can be, anyone who's over the age of 40, over the age of 35. I think it's basically someone who owns their age and is confident and who can, really is happy with where they are and puts it out there.
And what's the community who wants that?
Well, it's amazing, but there are a tremendous number of people who are interested in a mature guy. And it doesn't have to be just a younger person. The reality is that I think gay culture has traditionally been defined in some ways by the 20-somethings, or 30-somethings, and the people who go out and who are most public. But the reality is there's millions and millions of happy, thriving, vibrant gay men who are in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s, but they just haven't really had a place at the table as much until recently. And recently we saw, wow, it's almost like it's a trend. It seems like more and more people are embracing being a daddy and owning being a daddy. It seems like every city has a daddy party on the weekends or during the months. I mean, people are like playing with the term daddy. I mean, I wore the daddy hat just for you.
Do I get one?
Absolutely.
Cool. Now see, am I a daddy? Look, I'm looking at myself like it's a mirror. I'm like, because I'm old. Enough?
You're old enough. I mean, it depends. You could be a daddy. You could also be looking for a daddy. You're kind of on the cusp, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a bit of look at the salt and pepper. Look at that.
A little salt and pepper.
It's going great. So, I mean, if it's a state of mind, then I guess the question is, are we talking about building relationships here, or are we pitching primarily at the hookup market?
It's amazing because we've queried our users, and over 50% of them, I'd say, are looking for more than a hookup. I mean, sure, they can do that, but we're really trying to create something that's more social. I think older guys in general miss the days of the bars. They miss the kind of sense of social community, of interaction, more so than perhaps the younger guys that haven't known anything other than the apps. And the apps are just this limited one-to-one communication. And so with the new Daddyhunt app, we really built in all the features that you would see on Instagram and ways for people to basically interact and socialize and share photos and comment on photos. And we did that because we found that people want more. They want more than just the hookup. I'm not saying they don't want the hookup, and there's plenty of hot daddies, but we want to basically create an environment that supports people kind of reclaiming or coming back to the sense of community within the app.
Sometimes when you go on gay social networking sites or apps, there is a sub-community which is about money, about being paid for sex. And one of the perpetual cliches about daddies and twinks is that the daddies are rich and the twinks are beautiful, and you can sort of trade beauty for perhaps a little bit of money. Is there a risk that maybe this could fall into that territory?
I mean,
is there a way to guard against it?
Well, I mean, we don't allow people who are specifically looking for that from a transactional from being on the app or being part of the community. But in general, we found that people like daddies because they have a sexual attraction to daddies. Like it's ingrained in them. It's part of who they are. Sometimes they feel shamed about it, or sometimes they don't want to come out about it. And same thing, older guys who like younger guys sometimes get a lot of flack. But what we found is that there's a tremendous natural desire that people have to connect to older guys. That older guys have a lot of wisdom. They represent a lot of things that people want. And I think that as a culture, gay men who are over 40 or over 50 have been largely invisible until recently. And now you see them everywhere. You see in popular culture, you see hot older men. You see people like Tom Ford, people like Murray Bartlett, Dom on Looking. You see people who represent a very healthy, vibrant, sexual being who is older. And I think a lot of people want that. I think a lot of people need that. And so I think it's everywhere. I think it's trending, and I don't think it's about money. I think I think the money part is actually a small.
Do you hope
small
that this
part.
can play into a kind of a cultural shift which normalizes, I guess, older people as being sexy? Because especially in the gay community, there has traditionally been, you don't see Abercrombie and Fitch or Calvin Klein ads with 50-year-old guys wearing underwear. It's like there's this obsession about youth.
There is an obsession about youth. I think it's already changing. I mean, I feel it in the culture at large. I think that the internet has helped enable to connect people who are younger and older, or validate the idea of a sexy daddy. I think we see it in porn. I think there's so much porn now that has a daddy fantasy, that shows older guys who are sexual beings. So I think
I got to update my porn.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been remiss.
I'll give you some passwords.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think it's already trending, and that's why we decided to launch the app. Like, we didn't do it a few years ago because we weren't quite sure, but now we're seeing daddy culture rise, and I'm on a mission to make 2015 the year of the daddy, and to really show that actually there's a tremendous demographic here of really amazing men in their 40s and their 50s and beyond who are living vibrant, healthy lives, and they are part of our community, and our community is big enough, the tent is big enough to incorporate them into how we define gay culture.
A fascinating cultural phenomenon. Carl, thanks for being with us and telling us about it. Good to talk to you, as always.
All right, thank you.